So I actually wanted to start off by talking to you about children. You're obviously a dad. How have kids impacted your life?
It was a crazy life changer. I think everybody warns you that your life will be different before and after, but I don't think you can prepare yourself. It's a wonderful change, but all of a sudden, I think your life is all about the kids now. It's your life kind of, takes a little bit of a back seat, even though I was still playing when I had kids, but everything when I was home was centered around children, and it's been wonderful to watch them grow and learn and get into sports and stuff like that. So it's been an amazing journey already, and I think as a dad, I'm just what I feel the most is pride. When they do anything, you're like, oh my God, that's so sweet, and he's already able to do that. Now he's walking. It's like when they do little stuff, I feel more pride than I ever did for any of my accomplishment in my career, if that makes sense. And I think now looking back, I understand my parents in a way. They always told me, I'm so proud of you. Every year I came back here, we're so proud. I'm like, yeah, I've heard this now a million times, but I think now that I have my own kids, I understand that more. It's just a different sense of pride than anything that I've ever had before.
How did it impact life in retirement?
It's been busy. We're trying to travel with them. We have family all over the world. My parents are still in Germany. My wife is half Swedish, half Kenyan. So we try to see family. We try to show them different cultures, different languages.
And that was important to you to make sure, at least when I read about it, that the kids spend time in Europe and Kenya every year, right?
Yeah, every year. It was a little harder now with the pandemic, but like I said, we want them to see family, want them to hear different languages, see different cultures, and then when we're home, they just started their sports already, and so I'm trying to be involved in that and take them and watch them, and so it's been a fun 3 years. Honestly, it's been flown by. I mean, it's busy. We're traveling. I do some stuff for the Mavs on the side. I do some stuff for FIBA, for the International Basketball Federation there. So there is literally always something going on, but it's been a fun 3 years, I got to say.
Did I read 3 languages you're teaching your kids?
We're trying. So I speak German with them. Mm-hmm. Wife is speaking Swedish with them. And of course, English is because they live here, it's natural. And when I talk German to them, all they talk back is English. So then I got to translate in my head and then talk German again. So that's sometimes a little bit challenging with 3 languages. It's easier if me and my wife would speak one language and then they would hear that all day. But I got to speak English with my wife. So really, all they hear all day is English. Only when I address them is when they hear German. And so the oldest, I would say, she's 9 now. She understands everything, but she still only talks English back. Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll give her a couple more years, and maybe she'll speak more.
So it was a snowy night in February 2010, an event for sports and economic development. I guess you agreed to get auctioned off on a couple dates, but there was somebody else you end up meeting that night too.
I don't remember where you going.
Isn't that where you met your wife?
Oh, okay.
Come on.
My bad. So I was going to a charity event. It was actually during the All-Star game. The NBA All-Star game was in Dallas that year, 2010, in the new Cowboys facility, which everybody was super excited about. And one of those nights leading up to it was a charity event from one of our scouts here, and he's African, he's from Senegal, and he has a foundation. And so I went just to say hi for a couple of minutes, and I wanted to keep going I had a bunch of people and family in town, and I ended up meeting Jessica there. I knew her old boss, and I went over there to say hi, and she was there, and we started talking, and now it's this summer 10 years marriage. So time has flown by, 3 kids, but that that night took an unexpected turn for sure.
And you knew her old boss. I think she worked at an art gallery.
She worked at an art gallery.
Back in the day, but obviously the rest is history. What made you realize she was the one?
You know, we started hanging out more, of course, started dating, and, you know, I had the feeling, you know, there's somebody you want to start a family with, and it's been a wonderful journey. So, yeah, it's just, you have that feeling. I was already, you know, I was older already. I was almost mid-30s. I was ready to start a family, and so we were both, I think, in a similar situation, and it was the right fit.
What impact do you think her brothers being pro soccer players had?
So I didn't find that out until later.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't know that until she told me she has twin brothers, and I'm like, what? What are the odds, right? And then one of the first summers, I actually visited her in Sweden, went home, and then I went to one of his games, the one Martin had, I think it was an under-22 game at the time with the Swedish national team. So we went and went to support, and I met both, and yeah, I have a great relationship with them, and they're still active. They're still playing, even though their career is winding down. But of course, been following them. My kids are Uncle's biggest fans, of course. So they had to play soccer for them, and so it's been a fun family stuff going on.
A good proposal story?
I mean, not really. I didn't want to really go too overboard and get a million people involved, so I just I did it on Valentine's Day, which was really sweet. We had a lovely evening, lovely dinner, but it's not like we were in a helicopter or a balloon ride or nothing too fancy.
How were the nerves going into the proposal?
I was good. I knew this is what we both wanted, and was looking forward to the wedding. And you know, since we have family all over the world, we did like a whole summer of weddings. We had a wedding with just close family in the Caribbean. Her mom threw us a wedding party in Kenya, and then we had a big party here for everybody in my family here in Dallas. So it was like a 2 months of whole wedding, but I was ready for it. It was a blast, and I'll never forget. But the wedding in Kenya was something else. So we get there, and Jess's mom has told her, it's just a little get-together, you know, people want to see you and celebrate you guys. But yeah, I didn't know what to expect. So I get there, and Jess tells me, I remember, just keep an open mind today. And I'm like, sure, whatever, let's have some fun. It's a beautiful day. So we get there. They take Jess away right away. I have no idea what's happening. I walk on the ground. There's 3 or 4 massive tents. There's like hundreds and hundreds of people there. I'm like, this is a small get-together here? Like, I was already crazy shocked. So then I'm like, what are they doing to Jess? The first thing that happened was I had to play a game. Like 5 or 6 girls were covered, and I couldn't see them. And my job was to find my wife. And if I don't, I'd have to pay like a fine or had to buy a goat or something. So they threw us a very traditional wedding party. And so that was the first game. Basically, come in and find your wife game.
And did you find her?
It was close. A couple of them were a little too small. One was too big, so it kind of was good there. And then it got a little tricky. There were 2 or 3 of them that were sort of similar size. And I'm kind of like going, I couldn't touch them. I wasn't supposed to talk to them, but I'm kind of whispering like English to people in their ears to make sure I hear the giggle. I'm trying to see what shoes they're wearing.
Because they're all completely covered
They were
up.
all completely, they had like just a blanket over or something, all of them. So I couldn't see anything. So I was trying to find her, and I was lucky. I caught her. I think I must have whispered something in German because I know Jess speaks German or understands German. She lived there for a year. And so I heard her giggle, and then I think, which was a little bit of cheating, I admit, but that's how it all started. And it was just a wonderful ceremony of different stuff happening. And they asked me if I can kill a goat, and I was like, that's not my style. Can you guys kill it and grill it? And then I had to feed her a part of the ribs, which means symbols. I'm going to be part of her life. I had to feed her part of her shoulder, which means I'm going to carry her for the rest of her life. So It was an unbelievable experience that I'll never forget. And we partied basically 24 hours or something insane. So it was a good time.
Retirement. How long did you know you were done before you told anybody else?
I felt it that year, I think, but I didn't really want to announce it. I didn't really want that whole farewell tour. But then I ended up getting it anyways, because people saw, I think I was struggling. I missed the first, I want to say 30 games that year because I had an infection in the foot on one of the tendons. And so I struggled very much to even just get back to a normal level where I can compete. So I think it started with actually with Doc Rivers at the Clippers game, I think, you know, when he took the mic, right? The game was over. It's fourth quarter. We had lost. I'm kind of just standing there, the time's running out, and he calls a timeout. We're like, what is he doing? Like, why is he calling a timeout? We're getting mad. And then he goes up to the mic. I'm like, what is he doing? And then he's like, hey, Dirk, amazing career, and get up, everybody get up. And so I was almost embarrassed, right? Like I've never felt this before.
Did it like touch you though?
Yeah, of course. It was unbelievable gesture. At the time, I was still in the moment, and we had just lost the game, and I don't think I could enjoy it as much as I would now. But it was a wonderful gesture, and that's another thing, of course, I'll always remember from my last season.
Do you go back and watch a video of something?
I haven't.
No.
Sometimes you get little clips on Twitter,
Yeah.
on social media, but I don't really watch all stuff, or even ceremonies. I'm not that guy that needs to rewatch myself. I don't love that. I get a little uncomfortable. But so Doc started that the last season, and then all of a sudden I get to road games after All-Star game, and you know, I was invited to play in the All-Star game because people were thinking it was my last year, and so that whole thing kind of snowballed. And then everywhere we played after All-Star on the road, people were giving me standing ovations when I subbed in, and so I ended up getting a farewell tour without really announcing that I will retire. But in my head, I kind of knew the last few months and weeks was really tough. I couldn't practice anymore, which I love. I could only play the games, and it was just health-wise, just wasn't holding up anymore. So leading up to the last few weeks was pretty emotional for me, but I never really let it out. But I knew that was going to be it.
How would the emotion come out in you, even if you didn't show it publicly?
I mean, just knowing that I'm walking in the arena one last time to play, or whatever practice days, we're all lifting weights and somebody's making a joke and I'm in the middle of it. You know, I'm always trying to lighten the situation, always joking with guys. And I knew I would miss that. I knew I'd miss the camaraderie a little bit, the road trips, the away arenas, the fans. And that was at times emotional, but you know, I didn't really talk about it that much. Maybe with my family, they knew, but I guess everybody else was expecting it, but without really talking about it much.
You said you sometimes wonder if it was worth playing those last two seasons. Why?
Well, you know, we weren't very good. It's not like we were still chasing the championship, and I have some health problems now with a little bit of foot stuff, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. I played 21 years. I'm proud of that with one franchise, which is a record. And I still, you know, obviously not the last couple months, but before that, it was still fun. The routine and the summer and working out, staying in shape, playing with the guys. It was still being part of the crew and part of the journey. So I don't want to sit here and say it was a mistake to play 2 more years. I don't know what I would do now if I would be in the same situation again. I'll probably still play again. But it's been an incredible journey. And, you know, I'm glad that I did play 21 because at the end I got to play with Luka and be there for him 1 year and kind of show him a little bit of the ropes and develop a little bit of relationship with him. And now he's taken, obviously, this franchise back to new heights. So I'm kind of glad I was there that 1 year with him to kind of play with him and get to know him a little bit.
It is crazy to consider. We were on a group research call talking about you the other day, and it was brought up that you're kind of the connective tissue between the Michael Jordan, you know, Scottie Pippen, Charles Barkley days to Luka and every, you know, star.
That means I've been around a long time.
In between, yeah. You miss it at all?
I miss, of course, some of the games, the competing. I think when I miss it most is the Mavericks had an unbelievable run last year in the playoffs, and I wanted to be there and I wanted to support. So I went to almost every playoff game last year, home and on the road. That was hard. Knowing that you won't have that feeling anymore, you know, you make a big shot. I watched Luka turn around to the fans and do some trash talking, I think, or firing up the home crowd. I think that's what I miss a little bit. Not so much the preparation and the being in the hotel and all that, but the actual competing part and you know, making a big play and silencing the crowd or firing up the home crowd. And that is an adrenaline rush I don't think you can get anywhere else in retirement.
So you said around the time you were retiring, I want to travel, I want to enjoy my family that sacrificed so much over the last years and see my kids and then go from there. I'm sure after a year or two of doing that, something has to come and find my passion. Thoughts on that today?
I would say I'm still in that same mode. I'm still sort of, I would say, in the in-between phase where I enjoy being with the kids and family. We do travel a lot. But then I do a bunch of stuff, little things to just see where is it going to take me? Is it going to be with the Mavericks? Is it going to be international with FIBA? Or I think one thing is clear, that I'm going to stay around basketball. You know, I've learned a lot the last couple of years about business and, you know, took some classes at Harvard Business School. All that's cool. But I don't think that's where my passion is. You know, the passion is always and has always been sports and was always basketball. So. But in what function, and I'm not sure. I think I'll see that. I'll keep going the way it is now, and I'm not sure where it takes me.
Well, it's kind of an enviable position to be in, though. I mean, you had all this success in the NBA, and that's afforded you the ability in post-playing days to take a minute, explore what's out there, and figure out what you enjoy and want to do in chapter 2. How much are you able to kind of allow yourself to kind of enjoy that process?
Honestly, for me right now, it's the perfect situation because I don't have a boss right now, so I can I'm my own boss. I can do what I want. I can pick and choose. So I think that's something that, of course, a luxury that I didn't have for a long time because, you know, always had to be at certain spots at certain times. And now I make my own schedule and I kind of do what I want. Of course, there's some stuff that comes with the program, but mostly I'm my own boss, and it's a fantastic situation. And I've enjoyed it for 3 years now, but I'm sure there's another challenge out there for me. You know, my mentor Holger always said to me that he wishes that one day I will do the same for somebody that he has done for me, and that's take them in when they're 15, show them the ropes. I can see where I can like that, but I don't think I'm quite there yet. I think I still need a little more separation from the game. Because once you do that, I think I want to be all in. I always said I don't want to do something half. If I commit to something, then that's every day. You have to be there. You have to be there for the kid or whatever thing it's end up choosing. And I'm just not quite there yet. The kids are still too small, and I enjoy time with them and traveling. There will be times where, you know, they're teenagers and they don't want to see me anyway. So we know how that goes. Right. So I think there's plenty of time to find stuff.
So you mentioned walking in. You remembered we caught up at Tony La Russa's charity event a few years back, and you were pretty well glued to the speakers. I mean,
funny that you saw that.
Yeah, I mean, clearly it like meant something to you.
You know what? I'm always interested in stuff, and to me, now that I'm done with basketball, to me, I'm in the world learning now. I'm learning new stuff. And so long in basketball, I was focused. I didn't want to do much in the summers because I wanted to train with Holger. Then I had international competition, big tournaments. Then I went right back into the season. Like, I didn't have the time to do all sorts of stuff, what I want, and travel and learn. And so to me, that was just a learning thing. I wanted to see what these guys are talking about leadership, about all sorts of stuff, and I found it super interesting.
What were the classes at Harvard Business School like?
It's I did one online last year for a couple of months. It was business management, which I got to say for me is hard. All these guys that are in the class from all over the world, 400, 500 people or whatever, they all have like CEO position or CEO of big companies. So, they're in that environment every day, and they went to college for it, right? And I'm sitting in this class and I get all this material, and I'm a little overwhelmed. It was a cool experience, but it was harder than I thought. On the website it says, it takes like 6 to 7 hours a week to kind of get through the stuff, and it took me sometimes 10, 15 hours a week. I was sitting there. So I'm reading stuff, then sometimes I had to Google because I didn't understand. Or they were like, hey, write a quick email to your boss, such and such thing happened. I'm like, I don't even know how to write an email to my boss. So I'm doing all this research on the side. So it was hard, but it was cool. I think I learned a lot.
I understand you've said before that if not basketball, you thought maybe you would have gotten into academics. And when I heard that, I'm like, what do you mean? You were a bad student and you almost dropped out of school?
There was a time where actually I wanted to go to high school in the US for a while. But then I met Holger when I was 15, and he's like, get your high school degree here in Germany. And he kind of helped me, push me through. And that was an important time for me to meet him. But no, there is a business study in Germany that they say, which is actually a bad thing to say, but if you don't know what you want to become in life, you just study that business, and then it kind of sets you up for all sorts of jobs. My parents had a painting business growing up, and so my dad really wanted me to take that over.
And it was like a 40-employee.
Yeah, it was a
business.
nice mid-size company, painting houses inside, outside. Sometimes on vacation in the summer, I'd go work there. And it was hard. It was hard. And his story, to this day, he told it to me again this summer when I was home, is he bought this. We were always based downtown, and we didn't have a lot of room there for 40 people to come in, park every day, have a meeting, and then so he bought a huge complex, a little bit in a suburb, and he's like, he was so proud, and he showed me that day, and we walk in, and to this day that he claims that I said, oh, this smells like working here, I'd rather go to the NBA. I must have been maybe 15, 16 when he bought that place. I don't remember saying that to him, but both my parents claim that. But I think now he sold the business because my sister didn't take it over. I, of course, never came back to take it over. So that was a little bit of emotional time for him, for something that he built for 50, 60 years.
And your parents were some of the best athletes in Germany of their kind of
generation.
Yeah,
they were good. They were good athletes. I wouldn't say they were the best.
How did they influence you?
I just basically grew up in gyms. My mom was playing basketball, and my dad was a handball player, and they both played tennis recreationally. So every weekend I was either with my dad watching handball, I was with my mom playing basketball. We were on the tennis courts with their friends. So that's all I remember growing up. That's all I wanted to do is all I was interested in. I didn't play little cars or Lego or anything. I wanted to do sports, and I was always around sports. And yeah.
What do you think you learned from them?
The discipline, for sure. What I liked about them they never really told me I had to do something. They always gave me my own choice, and that's something I want to do with my kids. Give them the freedom and don't push them into anything that they don't want to do. And so that was really impactful for me, because when I quit tennis and I quit handball, both my parents weren't extremely happy, because I was decent in both sports, and they thought, maybe I could take the next level. But
your dad really was not happy about handball,
He was not happy
right?
about handball. He thought I could have been a decent Bundesliga or German national team player in handball.
But by the way, tell about this belt that he had hanging over a lamp.
Well, that's allegedly. I'm not sure that it was actually there. They still claim it wasn't. In my memory, I thought it did. My sister don't remember it either, so maybe I just made that up. But
come on.
They were.
Wait, how do you make that
Yeah,
up?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, they were of course tough parents. They were old school, and at times when we didn't listen, it's time for some discipline. But yeah, I'm not so sure about the
In
belt.
what ways were your parents tough?
Just just show respect. I think that's the major thing. If we weren't respectful to them or other children or other adults, I think that made them really mad the most. Everything else, they were super cool. I mean, my dad is so fun that he, even to this day, when I go out with my friends and worse, but he would join. I mean, everybody loves him. He's got this funny personality. He's always joking around. But when it was time to be serious and he said something, then that had to be respected. And I really like that, actually. And I think he's been such a great role model for me that I'm trying to do that with my kids. I want to be the fun playing dad. I'm laying on the ground wrestling with them. But also when it's time to go or time to do something and I say something, then we have to get it done. So finding that, I think, a mix is sometimes hard, but it's been a fun journey.
Did I read this correctly that you were popular in high school because of bubblegum?
Well, you guys really did some deep research, but I was always hungry, and so either I had a little gum, which of course is not allowed in school, but I always kind of like had just a little piece, something just to nibble on. And so some of my friends would always come and like, hey, do you have something? And I'm like, here's a little piece of gum. But yeah, that's I forgot I said that. That's good research.
How did the hairstyle change after Boris Becker won Wimbledon?
Hairstyles, I tried way too many things in my career, in my life, but that was cool. I was a huge tennis fan, and that time, that era, Boris Becker and Steffi Graf, Michael Stick, it doesn't get much better than that in the tennis world. So I was a huge tennis fan, and I remember going to the hairdresser and I was like, I want my haircut like Boris, and she's like, what? So she didn't make it red, but she made it sort of spiky, I guess. And Boris was one of my first, idols that I loved watching. He was such a warrior. He won Wimbledon when he was 17. Just a great player.
Explain the situation where, when you were playing tennis, you were accused of being 2 years older than you actually were.
Yeah, of course. In tennis, they stagger you with your age group, and sometimes you play with a year older or with a year younger, depending what year. But there was a picture that I still see. I think it's at my parents' house, and the guy I'm playing is probably barely up to my waist. I mean, it's uncomfortable how big I was and how little he was. And so, of course, parents sometimes were like, is this guy really born 78? Because he's almost 7 feet. No, I'm joking, but I was way into 6 feet already at 11, 12. I was always super tall. I would say as a teenager, I was taller than most of the teachers already. It's 15, I was almost 7 feet, I would say.
And didn't your parents at one point talk to the pediatrician about trying to stunt your growth?
That is true. We went to go to the doctor because it was getting a little uncomfortable. I mean, I was at this point 2 meters something, which is like, 6'6", 6'7", and I was obviously still growing. I didn't want to be, 8 feet tall. I wasn't sure if there's something wrong or I couldn't get clothes. I mean, it was weird. It was a tough time.
Did you think something might be wrong with you?
I'm not sure. I wasn't sure. I mean, I didn't see anybody else this tall around. So we just wanted to make sure that everything is okay. And they x-rayed, I think, here, my wrist here for the growth thing and the plates. And it was still wide open, they said. So, and he predicted at the time that I would be like 6'10", 6'11". And I said, well, that's not bad. I mean, I can do that. If he would have said you're going to be 7'8", then we probably would have thought about maybe a little hormone treatment or something. And then I ended up being now a little over it, actually. I'm now 7 with shoes, probably 7'1". But at the time, it was challenging. I mean, and growing up there in the 80s, they didn't have that much clothes for big guys. Sometimes we had friends travel to the U.S. I remember, hey, bring me the longest pair of jeans that you can find. Or I would wear one pair of shoes the entire year to school, and just size 15, 16, 17s wasn't around in their 80s, late 80s. So it was
It was even
Yeah.
difficult when you first became pro, finding clothes and shoes that fit you correctly.
Yeah, I
believe.
mean, then it was a little better. I had to
Right.
get some stuff made, of course.
Right.
But yeah, growing up was challenging at times.
Skeletor?
So there is a show, I'm not sure if they have it here, it's a cartoon called He-Man. He was this superpower, a big fighter, and he was the good guy, basically saving the world with this battle cat, was his little cat that he had. And one of the bad guys in that show was Skeletor, and he was basically just a skeleton, and you know, you could see through him, but he was the mean bad guy. And so, of course, kids are pretty ruthless, as we all know, and so they would call me Skeletor for a while, because I was obviously skinny. And then we'd have to go in PE, we'd have swimming, and everybody obviously was in bathing shorts, and my ribs were literally sticking out here, everywhere. I was so skinny. And then that was my nickname for a year or so, was Skeletor. So.
And while it might be funny now, it was not then. I mean, it
No,
was
it's not
like
funny.
painful, right?
Yeah, I was a shy guy, and hearing that, and then I didn't want to take my shirt off anymore. It's just teasing, I guess. But when I've always been a sensitive guy, and of course that was weird for me. And in a way, I always tell the story that maybe that's why I ended up at basketball, because it was easy for me. Nobody asked me, hey, how's the air up there? Where you know, in tennis or in handball, I was always the tallest, and being around basketball, there were other tall guys. I wasn't the tallest always, or somewhat similar at least, and so I felt comfortable. I felt comfortable. I was around older guys. They were taller, and so I think in a way, of course, I was talented in basketball. It was fun for me, but it also made me feel comfortable.
Did those days make you self-conscious in a way that you still carry to this day?
I mean, now I laugh about it a lot more, you know, going into a room or whatever, but it always will be that way. If a guy walks in who's 7'1", people are automatically going to stare. It doesn't matter if they recognize me. I can go in there somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and you duck in to go under the doorway, and you come in, people are just going to stare. I didn't love that early in my life either, the constant or the whisper and the pointing, like, look at this lurch over here. But now I'm like, it's fine, you know, I get along with it, and it's funny. But as a teenager, that's definitely something I didn't love the attention. So that made me definitely uncomfortable at times.
And when friends would ask you to go to the pool, you just would stay home?
I would stay home and then play sports, which I love that anyways. But I'm sure if I wouldn't been so embarrassed about how skinny I was, I would have probably gone to the pool a couple more times with my friends. But that way, I just stayed home. I shot in our yard. We had a little basketball goal. Even my mom would look down. She didn't really know what was going on, so she would look down from the window and be like, "What are you doing? It's like 100 degrees out here. Just go to the pool." And I'd be like, "No, I like sports. I'm not going."
Why do you think you didn't share that?
I'm a guy that soaks everything in and very sensitive, but never really talks about stuff. And I deal with it in my own space, in my own head, in my own body, and so that's how I just dealt with stuff. So I don't think my parents were aware that I was embarrassed that I have bones sticking out everywhere. I don't think they were aware of that situation at the time.
Why do you consider basketball a girly sport?
I think that was early when I played handball and tennis. And handball, you know, handball is not really big in the U.S., but it's really big in Europe. You can push somebody, you can hold him, you can even shove him to the ground at times and only get like a little bit of a penalty. And so to me, that was a tough sport. And my mom and my sister both played basketball. So to me, that was like, you know, you can't touch anybody. And, you know, if you bump somebody too hard, it's 2 shots. And so to me, growing up, there were just us boys, we play handball. When I was about 10, 11, they were like, "Hey, you're so tall, you just come to one practice." And so I joined the school team. We're doing well right away. And then I really started loving the sport. And then And then I joined the club with my cousin, who was a year older than me. He kind of took me, he's like, just see one practice to see if you like it. And that was it.
Really?
Loved it from day one. And never stopped again. Joined the club, played there my entire career basically until I went to Dallas with the club in Würzburg.
And at some point, you knew the roster, could recite the roster of basically every single NBA team.
Yeah, well, then once I dove into basketball hard, I was in. Then I quit handball first because my school was struggling. I could do 3 sports at the same time. Then I was doing basketball and tennis for a couple more years. And then at 15, I went all in basketball. But
And explain the school gym, by the way. I mean, the court, nothing like this.
yeah, it's probably
obviously,
half the size. Basketball wasn't a big sport in Germany at all at the time, so there were really no nice school gyms. If you want to play basketball or really any sport in Europe, you usually join a club. The club have the nice facilities, the nice gyms. So the school gyms are usually super small, and it was this wooden backboard, and I mean, it was old school, but it was enough for us to run around a little bit, do some layups. That's where I really started, was in the school team.
You end up getting 30 scholarship offers. You make visits to Cal, Stanford, Kentucky. I understand there might be at least a little regret that you didn't go to college. How much truth is there to that?
Well, it would have been fun, I think. I think it was a good decision not to go, because at the time, late 90s, the big guys, the game was still different. I didn't want to be a center. I didn't want to all of a sudden go to college, somebody put 20, 30 pounds on me and be like, hey, son, this shooting is nice, but we need you closer to the basket. And the game wasn't as evolved as it is now, where the big guys all are outside and moving and shooting. And so my whole career, if I talked to most of my teammates, they all said, hey, that year or 2 years or whatever, those years in college, they were amazing, just the camaraderie. And it's different in the NBA. You play together, you have good buddies, but everybody goes their separate ways pretty much once the practice or the game's over. And just that tight unit that you're in college, I think I would have enjoyed that, and life on campus a little bit. But I think for my career, going was the right decision to go straight.
There are rumors about the NBA lowering the draft age to 18 years old. What are your thoughts on that possibility?
Well, I think it's been sort of weird the last few years. Some guys going to Australia for 1 year, some guys going to the G League. I think you might as well have them come in out of high school if they're ready. The way guys are doing it is they don't really want to go to college anyways. And then if they do, at the end, they're worried about getting hurt. Then they don't play in the tournament, as we've seen the last couple of years. That's just silliness to me. That's just silliness. So you might as well open it up. If they're ready, the scouts would know, the kid will know, the family would know, and then we'll go from there. But what's been happening in the last few years, I don't think is good for the game.
Holger, what impact did he have on your life?
He was just a huge mentor, and I owe him everything, because I wasn't sure at the time at 15 where this journey in basketball would take me. And he taught me everything. He taught me how to move, to shoot, and also helped me off the court with stuff, with school, and just growing into the person I wanted to become. So,
what would he have you read?
Every year for a birthday or Christmas, he would give me books, and I'm like, oh, great, another book, Holger, that's sweet, great gift. But he always tried to brighten my horizon and learn different things. And he had me play music. He wanted me to play the saxophone, so I played the saxophone for a couple of years, and just open your mind up to other things, not just sports. And also at the time, we weren't sure if it's going to work out. So he said, the more well-rounded you are, it's going to help you in life better if you need a job later on or whatever. So he always pushed me in other areas. And what kind of books, it's kind of hard to say. Some were novels, some were like books really hard to read for me about nature and physics. And I'm just like, Holger, this is not, it takes me years to get through this, just to understand a few words. So, but yeah, that was his way of always trying to push me and push me to new limits.
Explain how he was trying to help you as a defender by fencing.
So the long story is, he never liked weightlifting. He thought that I was still growing as I was as a teenager, and it's just going to hurt my joints. So we basically tried to find things in the summer for me to do to keep the fun, get a little bigger, a little stronger, or better movement. So we tried all sorts of other different sports to see, hey, what training can we steal from them? What could work for us? So we rowed a lot. We did a rowing camp every year in the summer, which is good all around power. We went to like a boxing training just to see how they train and warm up, and then fencing was on the schedule once. I'm like, I don't even have a suit or anything. What are we doing? So this club made me a whole fencing suit, and I got to fence. And what's so good about fencing is they're attacking. But while they attack, they also always play defense. So basically, Holger's philosophy there was on defense, basically you have to be active with your hands and without selling out and giving too much up, and somebody can just blow by you. So it was a cool experience. But as we all know, I think defense wasn't really my strong suit. So I don't think the fencing took my defense to another level, but it was fun to see.
And although while the stories are kind of funny, obviously it worked, the non-traditional ways, and you had a ton of success. What's the name or the reasoning behind the name of his academy?
What, the applied nonsense or whatever? I think he noticed early that he was just not normal. He always thought outside the box, which in Germany at the time wasn't very popular. People are like, no, you guys are doing this all wrong. You're doing such and such, and that's not going to work. And so thinking outside the box is not always liked, especially at the time when we were starting to do things different. And so that was he called his institute, Institute for Polite Nonsense, I think. It's just something that he wanted to be different, but he knew that he was wired different.
And you mentioned the saxophone. What did he once have you dribbled to?
So we had one of his friends was a jazz musician, and he actually was his mentor when he started playing. And so the guy would come sometimes to our rowing camp, and he would sit there on the sax, and we were practicing, and he would sit there on the saxophone. And we would have to dribble, and basically Holger would call it dance the game. He didn't want us to play like robots, right? He never, growing up, even when he was coaching, he didn't want us to run all these plays and you just go set this pick and you set another pick. His philosophy was everybody's got to have fun and enjoy. It's like the sport is like a jazz band. There's 5 guys out there. Everybody has their own skill level, and they're all good at something. And somehow they're all in the same group, but everybody brings different skill sets. So he always compared basketball to jazz, and he always said when somebody did a good move, you're like, "Ooh, b-ball is jazz." That was just his saying. So his friend would always come, or sometimes come to practice with his sax, and he would play the saxophone, and we'd have to dribble to the rhythm, and then mix up the dribbles and make basically the bouncing sound. As the drums, and that was just his way of dancing the game.
How true is it that David Hasslehof once came looking for you at the All-Star game?
Oh, you're bringing up some great classics. David was huge back in the day in Germany with Baywatch and Knight Rider, which Knight Rider was my favorite show growing up, with the "Hey kid, come here and pick me up," right? I mean, that was so cool. I think it was in our 2006 run to the finals when we ended up losing to Miami. But I ended up in that whole playoff run. I made some big free throws when the game was on the line, and one of the reporters said, "Hey, how in this pressure situation, how do you stay so cool and relaxed?" And I said, well, one of the methods that me and Holger always tried was sing a song. Just to not freeze up, to not let the pressure get to you, just to stay cool, stay calm, and have your favorite song in your head, or hum it, or whatever you want to do. And so one of the guys that asked me, "Oh yeah, what song is it then?" Actually, and there's a couple guys were funny guys from a radio station, and they knew David Hasselhoff was big in Germany, and he threw in, "Oh, it was Looking for Freedom" from David Hasselhoff, and then I was like, "Sure, whatever." Next thing you know, he kind of blew up, and David came. I think one round later, he actually came to a game. And we got to spend a couple minutes, and then the following year, the All-Star game was in Vegas. And I'm warming up, I'm feeling good, and I'm hearing Dirk. I turned around, it was David Hasselhoff, front row at the All-Star game. So just super funny how that all came together. But
did you ever tell him it wasn't true?
I don't think I did. It didn't really matter. I was a fan anyway, so from my teenage years. And
was it Counting Crows, Mr. Jones?
That was at the time, yeah, because that's what I think at the time was just, I don't know, one of my favorite songs, and it worked for me one time. We were all routine driven, so when that worked one time, I stuck. For that playoff run, that's the song I had in my head.
So can you still recite all the lyrics from a Shaq rap song?
I actually can.
You can? Let's hear it.
How did you know that?
we do our homework.
So I was such a huge NBA fan, and then I was a huge Shaq fan. I also loved his rap music. I got skills, man. I got skills. That song, and there were a few others. There was one with the Fushnickens that I loved. It was called "What's Up, Doc? Can We Rock?" And then at the end, he comes in. This is a bit embarrassing, but there was a time where his entire spiel, I could rap that. I'm not sure I can still get the whole thing going, but it's like, "I'm a hooper, hyper, protected by Viper. When I'm not a hooper, you better decipher. You better make some funky decisions, because I'm gonna be a Shaq knife and cut your position. Forget Tony Danza, I'm the boss. When it comes to money, I'm like Dick the Frost." And then, I struggle a bit, but that was the one with the Fushnickens, and
You ever consider making your own?
Ooh, I love music. Loved hip hop my entire life, basically. Still think '90s music is still my favorite to this day. But I don't think I have any talent in making music.
You grew up, in a small town in Germany where the X-ray was first discovered. I think your first trip to America, you packed your own towel. How did the States compare to what you were expecting?
All I saw was the show Dallas a little bit. My parents were watching, and so this was like, on the countryside. I was a little shocked how big the city was already then, and all the skyscrapers, and I had no idea what to expect. And I mean, it kind of blew my mind. Of course, there was a little bit of a language barrier there when I got here. There was a little bit of a culture shock, because I lived with my parents my entire life, and then not only am I 1 or 2 hours driving away, I'm 11 flight hours away. Right. So it was hard not knowing anybody, not having my family close, and that was hard. My mentor Holger, when something was wrong, I'd call him and be like, there were probably times where we were on the phone every day. Before every game, then after the game, I felt this and this and this. What am I doing? I can't make a shot.
And you don't even have a cell phone at the time.
I didn't have a cell phone. No, I called from my home line. That was busy still back in the days. And but then he would literally, if something would like really be bad, he would show up 2 days later. He'd be there for me, and we practice, or we'll talk, and that usually helped me a lot. And then I always give Steve Nash and Michael Finley a lot of credit, because they were so great to me from the beginning, how they supported me. Even Mike, who was the man at the time, he wanted me and Steve to grow and get better. And there's a lot of guys who could have said, no, you guys staying down here, I'm the man here. He wanted us to grow and share the spotlight. And so those two guys, Steve would always take me out when I'm homesick, or we'd go to movies or dinner, meet some of his friends on the road. And those two guys were true professionals on and off the floor, and I learned a lot from them.
The Loon, was that what it was called?
The Loon was the hot spot at the time. So we lived we lived close to the arena because at the time, and just an apartment complex, and so that's where Steve lived. And when I came, I was like, that makes sense. Steve is there. I'll just live there. And it was a great decision for me because, like I said, we ended up doing everything together at the beginning, and so. This is like late 90s. Sometimes after a Monday game, there was nowhere to find food. There was no catering yet. This was before all that. And so at 10 o'clock, 10:30, you get out of the gym, there's no food anywhere, no restaurant open. And so we started to go to this bar after games, and they had a really good burger and they had a really good chicken sandwich. So we started to go there, and then the better and more recognizable we were, people started coming there, and next thing you know, this spot is like this hot spot. You can't barely get a parking spot outside anymore, and it really just started with me and Steve go there after games sometime, play some pool, and have a burger, and next thing you know, it's the hot spot.
What would you say your lowest point was, though, in those early days with being homesick?
There were games where I didn't play at all, and I've never envisioned that. I've never felt that in my life, in my career so far. Those were tough times when you don't even get subbed in at all. Which I understand what Donnie and obviously Big Don were doing. They were protecting me for matchup. They didn't want me to get embarrassed and lose confidence. And so sometimes Donnie would come up to me after and say, "Hey, listen, this team was not your matchup, so you're probably not going to play." And it was still hard. It was still hard for me.
Depressed?
I mean, I don't know if it got that bad, but what I did was I kind of worked my way through stuff. If I didn't play, while the other guys were doing media, I was already on the bike. I was getting a sweat, or I went back out, got some shots up. The next day, I would show up 2 hours early for practice, and just, if I don't play, I got to work hard and I got to get better. So you can play me. Then off the court, yeah, homesick. It was the worst. Yeah, I've had my whole family at home, and but the good thing is, I guess, we were so busy and we're always traveling, always games, and then there was Steve next to me that developed a great friendship. So I think it never got to the point where I'm like, I'm out of here, everything is not working, I'm going back home to Europe. It never got that far.
But your sister had been in the States before you and only lasted 9 months, and she wanted to get the heck out of town. What did she tell you before?
Well, she went to Duquesne, which is in Pittsburgh, for a year after high school. And she had a tough time mostly, I think, during the holidays when it was Christmas, right? 2 weeks break. She didn't want to fly over and fly back. But nobody was on campus during Christmas. So she'd be sitting by herself with maybe another foreigner on the whole campus. And I think that was the toughest for her over the holidays, Christmas time. And she told me that, but we were so busy. Even we played through on Christmas, and there was really no time even on holidays to miss much. But I think it sometimes is normal when things are not going your way that doubt creeps in a little bit. So I was thinking, was this the right decision? Should I have stayed in Europe? Should I have gone to college? I'm sure that's normal in the first year.
Because your mom thought you should have stayed in Europe.
Yeah,
like one
she
more
wanted
year,
me closer.
right?
She wanted me closer. I visited a team in Milan. I visited a team in Barcelona, and she wanted me to be closer. And if something happens, they can be there in an hour or two, and not go overseas that long. But yeah, that's the decision we ended up making.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I heard you ate fast food for lunch and dinner. You were sleeping on a twin-size mattress, and you were not cashing your paychecks.
It was a little bit of a challenge to get going at the beginning. I was really fortunate here to have a lady, Lisa. She works for the Mavs, and they kind of say, "Hey, Lisa, why don't you take care of Dirk a little bit, help him out when he's struggling?" And so every couple of weeks, I'd go in her office. I didn't even know how to write a check. So she's like, hey, listen, this is where you put your name, this is where you put your date, and then here's a number, here you write it out. And I knew none of that. I never had to write a check in my life. So it was, at the beginning it was just pretty rough. I had an apartment and I rented, and there was nothing in it. So I remember I got a twin-size bed, I think. I had one couch you were able to pull that out if I have a guest coming. That's where Holger slept. And really, that's it. The kitchen was built in, and I had a TV and a rocking chair to watch some TV, and that's how I got going. And I had to buy a couple plates, knives and forks, and that's how I got going at the beginning. And I didn't really have much time to add more, because my first year was the lockout year. So we had 50 games in 2.5 months. So I mean, if I was there to sleep a few hours, and then we were off again for a game or a road game. So I wasn't really home that much in my first season anyways. Then for season 2, things got a little better. Actually, my first year, I had a rental car because I knew I was only there for 2 months.
It took you a minute to figure out how to get the AC to work?
No, there was a few issues there. It was just a small, I think it was just a small, normal, compact car. So every time I pull up to the practice facility or to a game, the other guys are just killing me, right? What are you doing? Buy a car. I'm like, I'm only here for 2 months, and I'm going to go right back. First flight after the season, I was going to be out regardless.
How can you even fit into a compact
Yeah, I mean,
car?
I had the thing all the way back, and then, I had just everything maxed out. And then it was getting into April and May, because the regular season lasted a little longer than normal, because it was postponed, obviously. And then it was already getting warm in Dallas. It was like 80s, 90s out. And I'm going to the game, and I'm in a full sweat showing up. I had both my windows rolled down, and I show up sweating to the game. And they were like, what are you doing? I'm like, man, my car is super hot. I'm not sure what's going on. And they said, do you see this button here? AC, you have to push that in. So when that light is on, that means the AC is on. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Because my car in Germany didn't have AC. I had an old Volkswagen 2. You literally had to just roll down the windows everywhere. So that's what I thought I had here when I got here. But there was AC in that car.
How did the diet change eventually?
Yeah, beginning of my career, I think in the late 90s, we didn't know that much about nutrition like you do now. Now everybody's vegan and gluten-free and whatnot. Back in the days, maybe there was that wave slowly starting, but I didn't really care about it. I didn't think it would make a difference for me that much. So, I mean, it was basically like burgers and chicken sandwiches after games, pasta before the game, and then, as you get older, I think that's normal. You care more about your body, you learn more about your body and what you put in it. And so I completely changed my diet when I was about 27, 28.
Did it actually help?
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah, I always say I would probably go back now and do it earlier. But I was just in my prime. We had just made the finals in 06. We lost to the Miami Heat in a super tough final series. Then I only had a few weeks off, and then I played the World Championships in Tokyo. And there, I just couldn't get going. I didn't feel it. I was like, hey, I'm in my prime. I'm 27, 28. I should be feeling great. Why am I not feeling good? And then I just started reading more and more. And that's when I changed, basically everything. Cut out sugar, no sodas, no desserts during the season, barely any alcohol, maybe around the All-Star break every now and then. But usually in my last 10 years of my career, I didn't drink during the season. Basically cut out all the red meat. And so it was pretty strict there for the last 10, 12 years of my career.
And then if you splurged briefly, you would feel it immediately.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a lot of sugar, that of course increases the inflammation in your body, and then you just don't feel as active as when in practices. But I would only do it in the summer when we travel a little bit. Then when I was off for a couple of weeks. And then once I started training again, I did the same routine again, training with Holger. And then and then usually play the big tournaments internationally. So I would only splurge there for a few weeks after the season and really have a good time. And then once I started training again with Holger in the summer, it was back to the routine.
And weren't you starting to become conscious of heart problems that big men would have?
Well, this is just now more really in retirement. A couple of teammates that I played with already passed away, and that's something, you know, that should be on every athlete's, but also big men's radar. And you know, you have to keep training the heart a little bit. And so I ride a lot of bike just to, you know, keep the heart pumping and get a little workout.
After the '06 NBA Finals loss, I think you and your inner circle are up well past 6 a.m. Take me into that moment and kind of describe the scene and what's on your mind.
Well, '06 was one of the most frustrating losses of my career. We were, you know, basically up 2-0 going to Miami in the finals. We were only 2 wins away. We're thinking this is a wrap. The Dallas Morning News, the paper here, had printed the parade route, and then we go down there and we lose 3 straight, and then we come back here and we're up 20 in Game 6, and when they come back and we lose in 6 games. And I remember just being so frustrated. We were so close to winning. It's like your heart gets ripped out a little bit. And but I always said to myself, hey, we have a young team. I'm still in my prime. At the end of the day, I think we'll be right back there. Since that's how I felt. I felt like we were a great matchup for the Spurs, who at the time were the best team in the West. And so I'm like, we're just going to come right back. So during my frustration in those couple weeks, I was saying in my head, I'm super, super disappointed and frustrated, but knowing me, I'm going to work hard and I'm going to come back next year. And then next year came, and we were rolling. We won 67 games. That was my MVP season. And we are the heavy favorites to win it all. I'm feeling good at playing my best basketball, and we run into a hot team with the Golden State, and we lose in the first round. And in a way, I was more disappointed and frustrated after that loss than I was after the finals loss. The finals loss, we still had an amazing year. We're right there, knowing with a little tweak here and there, we can be right back. But that '07 loss, when all the high hopes and high expectations, we're thinking we win it. We had the Spurs number that year, and then we lose in the first round. That was, I think, the low point of my career.
Was it?
I think so.
How did it affect you?
Just, I didn't want to leave my house for a while. The good thing is my dad was there, and my sister were there at the time, so they kind of, you know, talked to me a little bit and trying to build me back up. But that was probably the most frustrated and disappointed I was.
What are you thinking about then?
Like, I let my team down, I let the city down, because I didn't play well that round. They were a tough matchup for me. They played me with 2 or 3 smalls. Every time I dribbled the ball, somebody else was coming, ripping the ball away. And that was not my series. And for 2 weeks, I felt like embarrassed to leave the house. And then I wanted to leave basically right away. And I told the Mavericks that I was basically, I'm out of here, I'm frustrated. And then the NBA called and said, you can't leave. There might be a possibility you're winning the MVP. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Of all years, this year, I don't even want it, right? Just keep it. But then I stuck around a couple more days, and then they actually called and said, yeah, you won it. Because at the time, they were giving the MVP away in the second round. Of course, we weren't in the second round, so I had to do a little press conference here during the second round. And it was, I remember I didn't even sleep the night before. I knew Mr. Stern was coming to give me the trophy, and there was a big press conference, and I wanted to be as far away as possible. That's the last spot that I wanted to be, was here. And I kind of got through it. I can't even remember what speech I gave, but I know I was just so frustrated and embarrassed that we're not in the second round. That was a tough moment.
You were talking about tough times on the professional front, and everybody goes through those. Also tough times on the personal front, and arguably one of your toughest times was with the ex-fiance. I'm curious, like, when the first time there was a sign that, oh, something might really be wrong here.
Well, I was as shocked as everybody. You know, I had no idea when this happened. So that was a very tough time, because usually I did a great job always keeping my private life private. This is not for everybody. I know I'm in the limelight, it's kind of part of it, but I've always been a private person. So for me, to all of a sudden have my private life all out in the open was something completely different, and I was super embarrassed about the whole situation. And it was literally in the middle of the playoffs too. So it was a huge moment. And to this day, this Denver series that I played in '09 was one of the best series I've ever played in my life. I averaged like over 30. And I think it's because all the turmoil I had in my private life kind of really helped me focus in and enjoy, in a way, have that joy to get away from it during that series. But yeah, that was a tough time in my life. I think it's okay to make mistakes, though. And I think after the first initial couple weeks where I'm embarrassed, I'm like, oh God, this is, everybody now is going to look at me and be like, oh, did you see what happened to him? I went home right away. I saw my family. We went on a vacation together with my sister, with her kids, and for 2 weeks, and then after that, I was already fine. I was like, you know what, this could have happened to anybody. It just happened to me, and I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna be the same lighthearted guy that has fun with people, and it was just a mistake, and I got to learn from it. You can't close yourself away now for everybody and just go in this little shell. Life goes on. You made a mistake, and you still have to be the same guy.
When you first find out, how do you confront her?
I don't really want to get into specifics on how all that went down. I needed a lot of support from Holger, and of course my family, like I said, and close ones and friends, and I don't really want to get into specifics.
And you changed your number and email address almost immediately,
yeah,
right?
Of course. I knew this was going to start, obviously, a big storm. So I just wanted no parts of anything. I kind of just wanted to focus on the play. It was still in the middle of the playoffs. I didn't want 1,000 messages, and I didn't want to go on social media. And I don't know, was that still before? I think that was still before social media, and it's been so long. But I just kind of stayed away from everything and just focused on the task at hand. That was the playoffs still. And once then we lost that series to Denver. Then it was a little bit of, like I said, the emptiness, and then you think about it all the time. Then I just wanted to go home and be with my family and enjoy them, enjoy their company, enjoy the kids from my sister, and then I think my outlook on life changed already again. But
and I'm going to ask how you got through to the other side. But when you're in kind of those lowest points, in the middle of it, what are you thinking about?
How can I get through this? Look forward. Work my way through it, look forward to basketball, have my family there for me, that not necessarily talk about that situation or anything I go through, just interacting with them, I think, more than anything.
It's not talking to them.
I mean, it's not like they wanted to know in and outs, or even when I'm frustrated after another playoff loss, I'm not sitting there and pouring my heart out to them. It's just me being myself with them, and they've known me for my entire life, and I think that's more the cure for me, to be around people that love me for who I am, and spend time with them. That usually, I don't get to spend as much time with my family anymore, so to have that time with them and
but isn't that one different though? I mean, it was your fiance at the time got arrested, and you applied for custody of a kid that didn't exist because she said she was pregnant.
Yeah, correct, which we didn't know at the time.
Right.
So it was heavy stuff. And I remember we had a press conference first that I was very nervous and anxious and embarrassed. And I got to say, it was a tough time.
I was told that one of the reasons it was hard for you was, you made the decision to get married, and that was kind of one of the first big decisions you'd made completely on your own.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought that was the one, and we were both on the same page. So of course that was, it was a shock to me.
How do you grow as a person going through like an experience like that?
Well, it's adversity. It's you have to go through something that pushes you. Because I was super embarrassed to go out in public. I was, and to me, I take stuff. I'm a sensitive guy. I take things very hard, and so I was hard on myself. How could this happen? How did I let this happen? But you just get through it. You have support, and my family, like I said, was very important that year. And a couple of weeks later, I moved on.
You go from a low to a career life high in a matter of less than a couple years. Fast forward, it's Game 6 of the NBA Finals. I think there are 4 seconds left, and you're already in the locker room. What's on your mind?
When I made it to the Olympics a couple years earlier, that was one of my goals was make it to the Olympics, and of course the NBA championship. And so when I made it to the Olympics, when we won the game, I completely broke down. I was crying. I was hugging teammates. And so I kind of felt that same feeling coming on, and I just thought, hey, collect your thoughts a little bit, go back to the locker room, have some tears, and then you can come back out. And that's exactly what I did. I needed a few minutes by myself, even though our PR guy, the NBA PR guy, was chasing me down there. Where are you going? You got interviews, you got the trophy.
And you didn't want to come back out,
No,
right?
I didn't. At the time, I just laid. There's a little bench in the Miami shower, and I laid on that bench and had some tears and thought about, all the hard work that it took to get there, all the people that helped me to get there. And so it was just an emotional moment. But actually, I wasn't as emotional as I was when I made it to the Olympics. So I kind of got myself. Yeah, I don't know why. Because with the Olympics, I think it's one game. If we would have lost that one game, we're out. There, I mean, the championship was for 2 months. It was kind of leading up this whole situation. And I don't know, maybe it was just that do or die situation for the Olympics that we had there. So I kind of was fine after a few minutes, and then now Scott was saying, the PR guy, you're getting the trophy, and I was like, give it to somebody else, I don't want it. But then after like 5 minutes, I was totally fine. I'm now, of course, I'm super happy I went back out. The photos everywhere with me lifting the trophy for the first time, and hugging everybody and being with my teammates. So I'm glad they pushed me back out.
Do you regret not allowing those close to you to fly in for the finals?
I do a little bit after, yeah. My sister, I think, sometimes brings it up, but...
What does she say?
She's like, well, we weren't there. She doesn't really bring it up a lot, but it just rubs it in every now and then. I think what happened was, in 2006, we were up 2-0, and my dad and my sister came in, and we ended up losing the finals. We didn't win another game. So I didn't want, I wanted to, whatever we were doing in 11 there in the playoffs to get us there, I didn't want to change anything. I wanted the same people around me. I wanted the same, which some people would say it's superstitious, which I'm really not that much in life. But in that moment, I said, I don't want to change now. I don't want more people here now in my house. So I ended up saying, no, please don't come now to the finals. And I do regret that a little bit. I think they would have had a blast being there. And
are you surprised they didn't come anyways and just not tell you?
well, I think their plan was maybe just to fly into Miami and then maybe stay at a different hotel just to still be there. But no, it didn't happen. So yeah, sometimes I look back and I think it had nothing to do with them. Whether they would have come or not had nothing to do with us losing in 2006. But you know how athletes sometimes are. They live in their own heads, and they're all head cases. And so at the time, I was like, no, I want to keep the same crew.
After you qualified for the Olympics, your dad comes into the locker room after. How well do you remember that?
Yeah, I mean, I was already an emotional mess there in the locker room as soon as we made it, and I was just laying on one of those physio benches. I had to rush back out to do a live interview with the live TV that's filmed us for years, and after like finally, I think 5 or 10 minutes, I finally gotten myself back together. I'm about to go out, and then comes my dad. And then, I don't know, I broke down again, and I ended up not even making it out to the interview, which the guy is still not happy that I didn't come out and do that live interview after
real?
the game. Yeah, he brings it up every now and then. But I've followed the Olympics ever since I can remember, and living in the village, it was just such a dream of mine to accomplish that. And when we did, I broke down.
Mark Cuban, what do you remember from when he bought the team and your first recollection of how this guy's different?
Well, it was a time where we didn't really quite know what to expect because, some new owner, he might bring a new coaching staff, his own people. I remember there was a period of, not knowing what's going to come now. So I think that was the worst thing, that we didn't quite sure how he was going to come in.
And you guys were practicing on public courts.
Sometimes we'd come back at night to shoot with Steve, and they'd had league games going. Right. So we'd shoot on one of the side baskets on the baseline so the ball doesn't go in. And then when they'd take a 5-minute break, we'd run out, shoot a couple threes real quick. I mean, those were the old school days, yeah. But anyway, so when Mark bought the team, there was some uncertainty there. But he showed it pretty much right away that he's all in. Yeah, he bought us a new plane. He wanted to build us a new arena. He kept the coaching staff, and so he was all in on trades and taking on money and spending money to have us win. And so he basically turned this franchise around and put it back on the map. And free agents wanted to come, and so that was a wonderful time for me, as I remember. The beginning was very tough, and then once we started to get rolling, my fourth year, Finn Nash was getting better, and Van Exel, and we had some amazing runs there. To me, of course, the championship will always be better than everybody, but those early days, once I got over my first disappointment that it's not working, was some of the best times we had.
How about the best time you and Cuban ever had together?
Well, there's plenty. We've known each other now over 20 years. I always tell the story that he came to my bachelor party. How many owners come to their players' bachelor party. So we had some good times off and on the court. But
okay, what was that like at your bachelor party with it there?
Oh, just fun. What
about Juwan Howard's birthday party?
In the early days, we were having fun. He was our number one supporter, and I loved it. And but he also wanted to be a part with us, and he was on every road trip. He was at every practice, and of course we were having some fun as well, especially around the All-Star games always. So. I don't necessarily remember that night as vivid as he does. I think there was more of a bad experience for him. But we had a good time.
July of 2010, I think you're going in to meet with him at his house to say you might be leaving. Take me into that conversation and how it changed.
Well, I never had really an agent. So Holger kind of talked a little bit with the Mavs, but then he was like, hey, listen, I think Mark wants to talk to you. Why don't you just go over there and do it yourself? So that's the agent I had. And so I went over to his house, and we just we talked about the old times. We talked about the good times, the bad times, and it was like just talking to a friend, really, not your owner. And we both got emotional, and I think we both agreed that I'm part of this team, I'm part of this organization, I'm part of this franchise and city, so let's just do it. Let's just stay. And well, of course, I'd never really wanted to go anywhere anyway.
Oh, you didn't?
No,
Okay.
I didn't. But we weren't quite sure. I was a free agent. The last few years, after 06, 07, we were the best team. We had declined, and so I was just making sure that we're all in still. And then, of course, I signed that 4-year deal, and we won the championship in the first year after that. So.
Well, and it required you sacrificing a lot financially to make
Yeah, I could have signed.
work.
I could have signed a max deal, and I decided to take a little less. To me, at that point, I'd already done everything, All-Star, whatever, bunch of times, and MVP or whatever.
I mean, you probably left somewhere between 70 and 90 million
Well,
on
that's
the table
That's
over the
later
course of,
overall.
yeah.
At that contract, I didn't leave that much.
Right.
I don't want to give myself that much credit, but later on, I could have signed another couple maxes. But first of all, I wanted to be here. The city has been great to me from the beginning. Mark has been a loyal friend to me, even on and off the court when stuff weren't going well. He was the first one to be there for me. So we just have a great relationship, and the city has been loyal to me, and I'm a loyal guy, so it always made sense for me to stay here.
Wanted to wrap with this. You know, you've talked about before, you were never the most confident of guys. You know, you were shy, been viewed as kind of a glass half empty in terms of how you'd view things at times. But I've been told by somebody close to you that I've never seen Dirk happier than he is at this moment. I'm curious for your thoughts on that.
I can see that. I think what always kept me on the edge was a little bit of the pressure. Even in the summers when I'm off, I'm still thinking basketball. I'm still thinking I need to stay in shape. What can I do better? I just think it's that's pressure is away. It's off now, and I can let go. I can do what I want. I can travel without looking for a gym and a workout room every time. I think that's helped me kind of be more at ease, be more maybe fun going, and not always having that pressure of eat right and perform and in my head going forward. So, but yeah, I'm loving family life and the kids, so I'm in a good spot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dirk, you've mentioned your musical inclinations before.
Well, I only know one song that I always kind of play. So I played the saxophone a little bit.
And I heard you don't play sax anymore? You can't?
No, what happened was at the time my teeth got knocked out, the front two. And you know, at the sax, you kind of have to put your teeth there. And so I had like a brace there for a whole year. And then once I took that brace off, I never actually got back to it. But I played the guitar for a few years. My brother-in-law is actually in a Rolling Stones cover band. He's a lead singer. He's the Mick Jagger and all the moves, and so he taught me a few years. And it's like any I guess any hobby, you get to a certain spot, it's fun and you like it, and then if you don't really put a lot of work in, you don't get better and you get stagnant, and then that's. I played the drums, I played the guitar, I tried the sax, I played the piano. I tried everything, but I'm not good at anything. But the one thing I do remember is just this song. You guys probably know this song. More Than Words by Extreme. I mean, that's basically basic stuff. But that's one song that I always remember. The rest I kind of have forgotten. I used to love Ben Harper.
Do you play much today?
I don't.
No.
I have a guitar at home, or a couple actually. Broly has some, my brother-in-law has some of his flying around, so we probably got like 5 or 6 guitars at home. But
And Carlisle got you a piano. And when I read that, I'm like, I didn't even know you played piano.
So I was always talking with Carlisle. He's a huge music guy, and so he's like, "Do you have a piano?" I said, "I played growing up, but I actually looking to get one." And then just because I want to get back into it. And then one of the seasons was over, and I'm about to get off and leave for the summer. And he goes, hey, in 4 weeks, something's coming to your house. There's a gift from me and everything you've done for my family. I'm like, 4 weeks? What is that? And then sure enough, a couple of weeks later, up shows a huge truck with a Steinway 7-foot piano. And I'm like, what? So he gifted that to me, and I opened it up, and it says, thanks for everything you've done for me and my family from Rick. And that was super special. I mean, actually now this circle closes, my kids play on, and they all have piano lessons. So, and I unfortunately never found a way back in it. I want to, but all 3 kids play, and they enjoy the piano. And I'm stuck with this little thing, but I should practice it a little more again.
And that's a wrap.
Perfect.
That's
Thank you.
all
That
I
was
got.
lovely.
Oh, that was awesome.